I may have lied in the previous section. I think bunker play is the most enjoyable. You can have really strange lies besides getting a little sand shower. That's the only bad part about bunker play. One thing people don't realize, I think the easiest thing to explain is that you're not actually hitting the golf ball in a bunker shot. You're hitting the sand around the golf ball. If you visualize my hand as some sand, we're striking behind the ball, away from the ball. We're never actually getting contact with the ball unless you're trying to hit it for distance, 100+ yards. The keys to know is the density of the sand. You've got to realize that different sand reacts in different ways. You have a tight lie, which is limited sand. You have more sand. The only way to figure that out is to get in a bunker and practice and hit a bunch of different shots and see how you play it. For me, a standard shot is 2-3 inches behind the ball. I'm gonna try and get that club going down into the sand such that I'm causing an explosion under the ball. The sand under the ball is going to explode and force that ball up into the air and out of the bunker. If you're going to spin it, you want to get closer to the ball and cause that explosion down underneath, right underneath. It's going to generate more spin. But the key is to know that down in the sand forces the ball up out of the sand. You have lob wedge, sandwich, different options on loft, different bounces. We can get into that and talk about that for days. I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but the key is to strike under that ball. A lot of my coaches have used the phrase striking a match. You want to think there's a little rough patch underneath the ball that you're trying to strike a match. You can open the face to make that angle sharper, to slice under the ball, or you can keep it square to have a more flat approach that the ball is going to come out lower and run a little bit more. Just have fun, play around with that. The setup is key as well. I like to set up with a little bit of weight forward, stance open. I'm going to set that club back slightly outside or along my foot line. It's going to feel outside towards the target line, but I'm going to do it such that my feet are positioned in one place, the club is aimed in another, knowing that the ball is going to come out in the average between those two lines. I think that's crucial for amateurs to realize that you're not going to go where the club is pointed. If it's open, it's going to go a little bit back towards your foot line. As you strike that ball, you got to understand it's going to have a certain amount of spin, and you got to judge for that. You got to allow for roll or spin or whatever other elements you're trying to build into that shot. There's one other cool element that I've worked on really well, and I use it a lot. If you're short-sighted and you're trying to spin that ball and generate more spin, what you got to do is shift your hands back. So if you address it normally open face, normal grip, I push the hands back behind it at address position and take it away from here. It's amazing how interesting that changes your dynamics at the ball. Basically gets that club more open, going more left, and it gets it higher and more spinny. Mess around with that, but just make sure there's nobody in the background in case you scull it. They might be in play.